and his defenders. Because, by the way, it has now been 2 full days. No charges have been placed. No calls for arrest from local leaders. Literally nothing. And I'm not going to, this is crazy. This is privilege. That's all.
Yeah, so this is why I wanted to talk about, because I know this is the lens that a lot of people are looking at this from, that this is black privilege. And if Raja doesn't see jail time, I see the headlines now. I see it. Oh, this is privilege. This is either black privilege or it's rich kid privilege because he's the son of Rampage, or this is because of California's leniency on crime. I'm telling you this right now. If he doesn't see jail time, it's going to be because of none of that. It's going to be because it happened in wrestling.
This guy should have been in jail 2 days ago. Open and shut case. Here we have a UFC commentator, big name in fighting, Chael Sonnen. He's had some good takes over a while. He's obviously had a lot of very bad takes. And he essentially puts out this video saying, well, it's up to Sicko Stu, the guy that had his brain bashed in. It's really up to him to decide whether or not he wants to destroy his career. That's what they're saying. I want to read an actual lawyer's take on this. Shout out Viva. This is perhaps the most mind-bogglingly stupid take on Rampage Jackson coming from Chael Sonnen. Chael, Sicko Stu will likely be struggling with head injury / brain damage and physical rehabilitation for the rest of his life. His wrestling, quote, career is the least of his concerns right now. Also, police do not need Stu to file a complaint. This is a huge misconception I see on X right now. They're like, well, the guy who had his face pummeled in, he has to be the one to press charges. If that were true, then how would we ever get charges in a single murder case? That's not how this works. The DA can press the charges and can put this guy in jail and could have done so 2 days ago, but they're not doing it because he's black and famous. Or at least his dad's famous. That's what's kept him out of jail for the last few days. Now, I ultimately still believe this kid's going to jail, but he's not going to get the charge. He needs to be charged with an, attempted taking of a life because it was premeditated. There's numerous times on stream in which he claims very obviously that he's going to do that.
Again, though, if Raja gets a lawyer, though, they could just say, yeah, that's just trash talk, though. It's pro wrestling. There's trash talk all the time.
You see, also, police do not need Stu to file a complaint. They have the evidence right there on video, along with the premeditation. This is a terrible interpretation that was an insult to the intelligence of anybody who follows you. Bookmark this tweet and the prediction: Raja will be arrested and he will go to jail. And you will look like an idiot for having dedicated a full 12 minutes to defending this brutal, unjustified attack and seemingly attempt to blame / threaten the victim into silence. That's what it seems like he's doing to me, by the way. They're basically saying, well, if you're gonna destroy your career if you tattle.
Listen, have a police department that is in possession of this information and has not done an arrest. Why? Well,
because he's rich and black and famous. If a white guy did this, he'd be in jail already. This is LA. No. Anyone disagree with me? Leave a like on the video, by the way.
Again, no, because it was in wrestling. That's what it is. Has nothing to do with the fact that he's black or whatever. It's because it was in pro wrestling and everyone consented to the spot. That's the whole issue here. Everyone consented to it. It was pre-planned. Doesn't matter that he was on camera. I mean, well, it could matter. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. I don't know exactly everything he said on camera. Like I said yesterday, that could be the only thing that fucks him over. But again, he could get a lawyer that just say, well, it's trash talk.
You agree?
If Stu comes out and says this was all part of the spot, if he just says those words, no matter how much you're reworking reality and history, if he says those words, the police then look like fools.
Wrong. Absolutely not wrong. This guy might never even be able to talk again, you moron. I think this guy's obviously been hit in the head one too many times, but Now they're blaming they're blaming the victim in this, which is bonkers.
At the end of the day, Stu did consent to it. He consented to it.
If Stu doesn't say those words and say, hey, this was not scripted, as a matter of fact, he's even given a confession. He's saying that he's doing this for retribution for something else that I did. You have a legal right to defend yourself.
What?
That's true. But there's a substantial difference between
Substantial, not sustainable.
defense and vengeance. And one of them is instantaneous and one of them is premeditated. So the police are in possession of a video which is highly against the law unless Stu
Wrong.
comes out as a performer.
Wrong. 100% wrong. First of all, in no pro wrestling event has a performer agreed to having his skull crashed in. He didn't agree to be knocked out. He didn't agree.
Yeah, listen, is a pro wrestler going to go in there and be like, yeah, bash my skull in until I suffer brain damage or I might potentially be paralyzed or just something horrific? Yeah, no one said that. However, it's pro wrestling and they consent to a lot of crazy shit all the time. All right. That's the thing. It's pro wrestling and it's kind of like implied, like it's one of those things where it's like, well, you're risking your life every time you enter a wrestling ring. You're risking your body and your health every time you step into that ring. So yes, while you not be outright, because bottom line is Stu could have gotten knocked out and injured by a trained wrestler. He could have been seriously hurt. It's happened. People have died in the ring. You know, people have died or gotten paralyzed off of moves that they do all the time. So if the person, you know, for instance, Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know, he had his neck broken by Owen Hart. Owen Hart gave him a pile driver. Stone Cold Steve Austin, by the way, told Owen Hart, don't do that pile driver. Don't do that type of pile driver. Land on your knees. And he didn't land on his knees. He landed on his butt. And because he landed on his butt, Stone Cold Steve Austin's head was sticking out. He gave him the pile driver. Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck. And Stone Cold Steve Austin was never the same after that. No, that's a move that Owen Hart's a trained wrestler who did that to him. All right. Should Owen Hart have gone to jail because Stone Cold Steve Austin told him, hey, I told you don't do that pile driver to me. Land on your knees, not on your butt. Should Owen Hart have gone to jail? That's the thing. That's the thing why it's the lines are a little blurry. That's why everything's a little fuzzy.
Agree to be punched 23 times while he was defenseless. And there is not a single other example in history of this. There have been wrestlers who put their bodies on the line. Yes. But this is very clearly different. And any idiot can see that.
I mean, yes and no, though. Again, they all consented to the spot. If Rampage Jackson had run in on his own, like for instance, he just ran in there and attacked him, then yes, without a doubt, he should see jail time because that was not part of the show. However, because everybody consented to that spot happening, that's the only issue here.
And says this was agreed upon. And you have no idea how far Stu would take that. Stu is clearly unconscious. In real life, he's unconscious. But is he going to come out and say that?
This guy,
is he going to stick?
He's really trying to defend this guy because he's friends with Rampage Jackson. You know, and I've got nothing against Rampage other than he seems to be a bit of a degenerate. Okay. But he can be entertaining like most jesters can be. And you can't take away that he was a good fighter. And I even understand his idiotic attempt to defend his son's behavior because it's his son and he has no other option. If that was my son, I'd defend him too. And I'd get brutally ratioed and dragged on the internet too, because that's my son. That's my blood. I get that. Now, I do believe that Rampage Jackson actually believes what he says, but that's a different perspective here.
Stick to kayfabe and stick to the character and say, no, the whole script was I let him spin me and when I come down, I act like I'm unconscious. All we did is follow the script.
But he was punching him in the face while he was defenseless.
Yes, but Shale is correct here, though. Again, the judge is going to look at that and be like, well, is this what you guys talked about doing? And everyone's going to be like, yeah, that was the spot we planned. They're going to say, well, what's the issue here then? You know? Well, I got knocked out for real. Okay. That happens in wrestling. You're getting slammed like that. And what are you doing letting an untrained wrestler do that to you?
That's not a part of any wrestling script.
And Stu hasn't spoke yet.
He might never speak again, dude. Are you joking? He was choking on his own blood and teeth. And these people are out here threatening him to not press charges.
If Stu was to come out,
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not sitting here saying it's a good thing that that people are telling him not to press charges. It's just one of those things, though. Unfortunately, in wrestling, like I brought up earlier, the instance of like, what if Stone Cold had pressed charges against Owen Hart? You know, what if there's tons of incidences where guys have gone off strip in the ring and beat the shit out of the guy for real, or at the very least hurt someone. You know, and so if we're gonna bring charges to everybody in pro wrestling, there's gonna be a lot of wrestlers in jail, is what I'm saying. So that's the thing that's iffy about that. That's the thing that's iffy.
it would effectively end his time in professional wrestling.
Wrong.
Back in the territory days.
100% wrong. Are you kidding me? Do you think this Stu guy would lose a single fan if he pressed charges on this guy? I am legitimately asking. There is not a single wrestling fan anywhere in the world that would judge him for pressing charges against this clown. There is not a single one. This idea, these talking heads, real big brain take here from a guy who gets punched in the head for a living. Okay. That he would end his career. Are you crazy? Rampage Jackson ended his career. This guy will never fight again.
There was a number of bookers that would tell the boys, everybody's got a camera now. You got it right on your phone. But it didn't used to be that way back then. And these guys would go out to the taverns, and the promoter and booker would tell them openly, you can go out and you can go to the local bars. If any of you get beat up in a fight at a local bar, you're fired.
He's actually right about that. So this is why I'm responding to this video, is because to people who don't know, like Quartering here, he thinks this is outlandish. Well, I'm telling you, as someone who was in the wrestling business, Shale's absolutely right. Like, if you were to go out in the bar and someone wants to fight you because they want to be, show that they're tough, yeah, you better win that fight. Because back then, since they were trying to portray that wrestling is real, the facade that these are big, tough wrestlers, well, they couldn't be seen getting beat up by some random guy at the bar. That takes away their aura, if you will. It takes away their presence, their aura, and their reputation. So, yeah, again, like it or hate it, you could think it's dumb or not, but Chael's actually right about this.
How is that even close to the same thing, you idiot? This guy's a literal blockhead. I'm bringing back blockhead. I guarantee you the promoter didn't tell them, hey, you're allowed to go out there and commit felonies, but if you get caught, you're fired. That's not even close to the same thing, you absolute brainlet.
Well, yeah, he's right about that. It's not exactly the same thing, but the promoters at the end of the day allowed Raja to be in the show and allowed to do that spot on one of their workers. They put Psycho Stu in danger. Everyone in there put themselves in danger by allowing Raja to go into the ring that day. Everybody did. Even the wrestlers that went in there to break up the fight, they could have been in danger from Raja. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying it's not just Raja. Yes, Raja absolutely shouldn't have done what he did, condemning him fully. But who allowed him in there? Who gave him permission to go do this spot?
If any of you break the character that you're not real badasses, even to a bar full of 30 or less people, That's 30 or less people that I don't need to know that you're not actual badasses. Go ahead and go out, lose a fight, you're fired.
Never happened.
So
See,
I'm sharing with
now I can't bring up specific examples. Well, this guy lost and this guy lost, you know, but no, that is true though. Shale's right about the whole like you had to keep up your reputation if anyone picked a fight with you in real life.
you.
Now obviously nowadays it's not as true, and that's one of the reasons why the wrestling business is where it's at today. It's because there's not a lot of actual real tough guys in there anymore. But at one point it was true.
Stu, who is dedicated and has spent some time, and he's out there on this indie scene, is he willing to take a match and light a fire to his career?
First of all, if you have to have somebody literally try to take your life on live TV for real, that's not a career. And then you have, a concerning health update for wrestler. I mean, this guy is way worse than anybody says. Here's, Rampage Jackson recounts chaotic scene. This situation again. Stu is recovering in the hospital from a beatdown, as reported by his brother on Facebook. New video surfaces showing Raja's father, Rampage Jackson, provoking his son and saying that he saw his stream hugging a bunch of dudes in tights and insinuating that he was a man that loved other men. That, of course, infuriated Raja, who was streaming on Kick, then was gassed up by his Kick chat moments before entering the ring. Video in the follow-up comments. He was proving to his dad that he wasn't gay.
Let me call my son. Yeah, he's a pro wrestling fan. Around watching dudes, men in tights and shit. Hey, yo, did you get jumped by a bunch of dudes in tights, nigga? You said what?
Stupid. So stupid. Oh, do they not wear tights in MMA? Do they not wear fucking tights, little short shorts in MMA? So stupid.
Did you get jumped by a bunch of dudes in tights?
No. Why didn't you tell me?
No. You got a problem. Do I need to send my goons over there?
No.
This is crazy. I thought we were family, y'all.
Did your coach take care of everything?
I apologize. So let me put y'all in the right direction.
I looked at your stream because my chat was going crazy. And then by the time I popped in your stream, you was hugging on a dude in some damn tights. Man, you shut the fuck up.
So here his dad is also gassing him up. It's very clear. His dad is getting him worked up. Then you have this moron wrestler. He deserves blame for his role in the Raja incident. WWE legend says, "You're kidding me, right? You're actually kidding me that anybody would. I mean, what else? I mean, you're joking, right? You're absolutely. This is Henry. What's his stupid name?
Henry Mark.
He is a Hall of Famer, so you can't take away from that. But he goes, Mark Henry, sorry. He explained as a more experienced entertainer, Stu should have been more mindful when interacting with that kind of fashion with someone who's obviously new to the wrestling world. What? So everybody's blaming this Stu and threatening him basically to not press charges because it'll ruin his career. Absolutely pathetic. If he gets any blowback from his career, he wants to maintain his career, I will make it my personal mission to take down this industry, this wrestling promotion, if they fire him or anything like that. It seems like his boys have his back to me. It's everyone else who's running their mouth, defending yet another, it's all the same kind of person too, defending it anyway, privilege. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it.
Yeah. Again, I think there's a lot of blame to be shared. I think it falls a lot into the promotion. I think it falls a lot on AJ Mana. I think a little bit falls on Stu, and I think a lot of it also falls on Raja. So there's plenty of blame to be shared around. Either way, this is all like a blight on the wrestling business. It just makes wrestling look like a fucking joke, which is what you're risking every time. Which is why, again, I'm so shocked that Knox Pro allowed this guy to do that spot. I'm surprised they allowed him to be backstage in the first place. Like, why would you let this guy be backstage? And then after the whole beer can thing, like, why would you then allow him and then gas him up and tell him, get your receipt? And, you know, why would you allow this spot to happen with a guy who has never seen a single day in training? Never seen a single day of wrestling training. And I'm willing to bet, like, I don't know even if Stu or this guy even practiced the spot beforehand. Did they practice it at all? Or did they just say, yeah, you're just going to run in there. You're going to pick me up, give me a double A takedown, and then just punch me a few times, and then people are going to pull you off. You know, if you're going to do something like that with someone who's an outsider, you better make sure that you've run through everything. But back in the day, like in wrestling, that was understood. This is why you didn't bring in outsiders like this. And you didn't allow them to especially do things to your wrestlers, like lift them up and slam them when we've never seen a single day of wrestling training. But it's not like that anymore. It's not like that. And you get incidences like this. Wrestling used to be really gate kept. It was really, really gate kept. Which is why in the training, when they had you go through training, they really put you through a lot of work. The training is really hard, and they really put you through the ringer. And they do that, and they haze you, and they do all these things because they want to know, hey, are you really in this? Are you really ready to be a part of the business? But it's not like that anymore. It's gone soft. It's gone just unprofessional. A lot of outlaw mud shows. And again, I expect this from a smaller wrestling promotion, but not someone ran by Rikishi, who's a WWE Hall of Famer, who's The Rock's cousin. His whole family have been a part of the wrestling business for years. Wouldn't expect that from a Fed run by Rikishi. So just unprofessionalism all around, and everyone had their part to play in what happened, from the promoters of Nox Pro, AJ Mana, even Psycho Stu a little bit, even though that's going to make people upset. But come on, Psycho Stu is a little bit to blame here, just a little bit. And Raja Jackson, obviously himself, and even Rampage Jackson. I didn't see that video of Rampage gassing him up, but Rampage is even part of the reason why his son got all riled up too. So there's a plenty of blame to be spread around here. This is not just Raja Jackson bad. Yes, I mean Raja Jackson bad, but he's not the only one here. He's not the only one. This was just a complete mess all around. And like I said, when I was running the IWL, I would not have allowed something like this to happen. In terms of, like, I would have at least tried to be careful as possible. I wouldn't have just let this guy in backstage. I would have, and if they wanted to do a spot, I would have made sure that it was carefully planned out at least. Carefully planned out at least. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about that.